Welcome, my friends. How are you doing today? Welcome to How to Create Awesome Backgrounds. So, you can see me, I'm in my music studio, or am I? It seems like I'm hearing myself twice. But I am in some form of music studio, right? As you can see. And it gives the illusion of space. It gives an illusion that I'm somewhere I'm not, right? I'm going to show you today how you can get a similar effect and create backgrounds such as what you see here. So let's jump into the tool that I'm going to be using. If you're able to hear me, let me know. And a little bit of an echo. I'm wondering why I'm hearing an echo here. Hearing a little bit of a delayed echo somehow. Are you hearing that echo trailing behind me? Technology is crazy. It's hard to tell where this is coming from. Can you hear me okay? Let me know if you can hear me all right before I continue because I would hate for it to keep on echoing. Seems like there's an echo going on. Yeah, that's really crazy. That is very odd. Can you hear me okay? Or are you hearing an echo as well? I guess there's only one way to find out, right? Since I'm getting radio silence, I gotta I gotta go on YouTube and make sure that you can hear me all right, and that I'm not echoing in some sort of weird way. Let's check. I see some folks on Instagram. If you can hear me, let me know. And let me know if there's a weird echo or if it's okay. Thank you. Very, very strange. I don't think I've encountered this prior. You gotta love technology, right? Can anyone hear me okay? Am I sounding normal? Radio silence from the audience. Okay, James. Thank you. Appreciate you, James. Thank you for coming through. Let me know that I'm not echoing because I'm hearing myself twice. So I'm glad that it's normal for you. Thank you very much. Okay. With that said, I will go ahead and I will proceed to show you the tricks of the trade of how to create awesome backgrounds. There's a four-step process. This process, I call it the VPTP. VPTP. I'm going to show this to you, and it's going to give you a framework anytime you have to make your own studio background. So, for those who came in late, this background was created with AI. I'm going to show you how to do that. And there's a process to it, there's a process I follow. Okay. So, the very first step is the vision. You got to envision it, you got to see it before you create it. So, close your eyes. See it. I want you to imagine something. Imagine a studio, or imagine it could be an office, or just imagine somewhere that you want to create a background you want to create. And you got to practice envisioning. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get. You can actually let a scene play out in your mind like a movie. And the clearer your vision, the better the result is going to be. So that's step one. Step two is the prompt. It's all in the prompt. You can write your prompt, but I prefer speaking my prompt. I'm going to show you how I speak my prompt into the AI tool. I use a number of tools for my prompts. The one I'm going to show you today is ChatGPT. I'll show you how I develop the prompt. As an example, you could say, a peaceful watercolor forest at dawn. And that's all you need to give it. But you need to ask the AI tool to develop the prompt for you. And I'll show you how you can do that. Step three is to choose the right engine. So Dolly is not a bad one. It's gotten better and better. But the one I use for this is Midjourney. Midjourney is bold. It's artistic. That's the one you see right behind me. That was made in Midjourney. Okay. You also have Canva AI. Canva AI isn't bad. I use Canva quite a lot, and I use the AI tools in there. And then you can also use tools like Runway ML or Sora, depending on what you're trying to create behind you. If you're trying to create motion, then it would be Runway ML or Sora. But if you're trying to create a static background, such as the one I have behind me, then your tool of choice could be something like Dolly or Midjourney. Midjourney, you got to pay to get Midjourney. It's not free. That's the only downside about Midjourney. Other than that, Midjourney is absolutely amazing. So right now we are going into a tool of choice. I'm going to show you how to create with Chat GPT. So let's get Chat GPT onto the stage, put Chat GPT up there, and I'll give you a first-hand view into how I do this. So this is a paid version of Chat GPT, and therefore plugins and other bells and whistles are available for me. Okay. So if I wanted to create a brand new studio, different from what I have behind me, let's go full screen. So I want to create a brand new studio, and I want it to have some plaques, some Grammys, some awards, and such. I could prompt by using the microphone, as you can see here. And I would say something like, I don't think my microphone is working, but I would say something like, if my microphone was working, very strange technical issues today, I would say something like, I need a robust prompt for a world class by the beach. I want to see some awards, Grammys, plaques that show an accomplished producer. Make this a picturesque, robust. That is the word. That is the word right there. Robust and enticing prompt to take the viewers away. I need this for mid journey. So I would typically do that with my microphone, but since my mic isn't working, I'm going to use just good old typing in, which I did. So now you see what ChatGPT has given me. It's given me a rich and visually immersive mid-journey prompt that should deliver that cinematic, aspirational LA beach studio vibe you're after. And there you can see a stunning world class music production studio nestled by the beach in Los Angeles, golden hour sunlight streaming. So look at all that extra value that it's given me. It's given me a picturesque, robust prompt, just like I asked. I didn't say anything about headphones, I didn't say anything about coffee mugs, but ChatGPT, in its wisdom, has added that because it thinks it will add value to what I want. And it's also put in some other prompts here. It wants it to be in a cinematic style 16:9. Well, we're going to do a couple of things. Now I'm going to come out of this and I'm going to go into mid journey, MID journey. Okay. Hello, Prof. Roxana. Good to see you. Thanks for coming through today. All right. So we're going to go into mid journey. And if you haven't already used mid journey, just Google mid journey and it will come up with the website. And again, you got to pay to play. What I've noticed with a lot of these great AI tools, my friends, if you really want great quality, you got to pay for it. Like at first, a lot of these tools could be free, but the more you get into them, the deeper you go, you got to pay. All right? So this is Midjourney on the screen, okay? This is the studio that I just created that's right behind me. This one. I created this using simple prompt. I just created it with my own prompt. Create a vibrant music studio with calming blues and purples because I know those colors they calm, they look good, right? Gray at the side and ambient beige / yellow lights. So I did not use ChatGPT to give me this prompt, but look at the output. Not bad, huh? Now let's use the prompt from GPT. GPT created such a robust prompt. I cannot wait to put it in here. So when you get into Midjourney, this is what you do. Okay, you want to use the command /imagine and a space and then paste the prompt in just like that. Nothing else needed. And hit command, enter, and it said, "What do you mean version 5.1? Style is not compatible with version 5.0." So for one reason or another, it doesn't like that prompt. So I'm gonna shave off the version 5 that I put in over here. Seems to have been a little bit confused by it. But it will definitely understand 16.9. I'm gonna take away anything that may confuse it. We're gonna try this again. Hit enter. Version 6.1 is only compatible. Okay. So I'm gonna do one more thing. These are the joys of using these tools. I'm gonna take out any numerical mention. I'm gonna make sure that there's nothing else that could confuse it, and we'll try again. All right, let's hit enter. And it's accepted the prompt this time. 69 shouldn't have confused it, but for some reason, I could always say landscape. So if you ever want to generate a landscape prompt, you can just go ahead and call it a landscape format and it will understand. Okay. So the cool thing about Midjourney is you can put in multiple prompts. You could put in a lot of prompts all at once. So while this is generating, as you can see, it shows you the percentage when it's cooking, and it looks like it's actually done. So now we have four choices. Let's take a look at each one. Okay, that's not bad. Not bad. The one at the top left, that's number one. The one to the right is number two. Bottom left, I like that one. I like the bottom left one, and a bottom right one, not bad. I like that grand piano there. That's kind of my vibe. But let's go ahead and we're going to choose one. I'm going to choose the bottom left. Okay. I like all those paintings on the wall and stuff. So that is number three. We're going to go in here and we're going to choose U3. Now I want you to pay attention to what's going to happen. When I hit U3, it is going to take U3 and blow it up as a single picture. Okay. Now you can do all sorts of things with it. You can zoom in, got a better view. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this functionality. Let's click on it. And then this right here on the right hand side, open in browser. I'm going to hit that. And now that I've opened in browser, I'm going to right click. And when you do this on your machine, you'll see it. Right click and then save image as. Just a standard save image as, right? And I'm going to just save the image as Music Studio. Okay. And that saves it to my desktop. Okay. Now, coming out of here, when I go back in to the full screen, I can now bring in the image that I've saved and put it behind me. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into the settings for this tool, and I'm going to bring what I just created into this platform. Okay, so let's go ahead. It wants me to crop it. Let me crop it, save background, depending on whether you're in Zoom or elsewhere. So that's it behind me. It's not bad, not bad. But there are a few things you could do to make this look even better. And that's what I'm going to show you shortly. Okay. So, what can you do to make this look better? So, the visioning was okay. Then we prompted, that was okay. But now we're going to go in for one more step in our 5 step process. We're going to tweak it a little bit. Okay? We are going to clean it up. And part of what I call polishing has to do with adjusting the blur and adjusting how it looks to the eye when you see it online. So to do that, I'm going to share with you a tool of choice, something that I use to create these blurs. So if you go to Google and type in blur image, you're going to see pinetools.com. And pinetools.com is a website that you can use to blur your images. I'm going to put that in the chat. All right. So if I wanted to blur my image, I would come over here, pinetools.com, and I would choose the file. You could choose the file, select the file that you want to blur. So I'm going to go to my desktop where I save that file, and there it is. The moment you click upload, there you see it. And all you need to do to blur it is click on the blur button down below. I'm choosing a radius of 10. That should do the job, kind of. And there it is blurred. And again, all you need to do is right click, save image as, and you can save the image again on your desktop. So I'm going to save that as Music Studio 2. And now I'm going to come back to my streaming tool so you can see me. So this is what it looks like before any polishing. Okay. Remember the steps. We did the visioning, then we did the prompt, then we selected the tool. Now we're on to the polishing. So the polishing, after polishing, this is what we're going to get. Let me load it into the system and you see. All right. Double click and let's take a look. Save background. And there it is. So again, not bad. Not bad. But one of the things that I've noticed with these backgrounds, what makes them look better is the lighting. And I've found blues and oranges and yellows to be rather convincing. Okay. So what I'm going to do next is jump back into ChatGPT and I'm going to attempt giving it another prompt suggestion. So I'll say create a prompt for a common music studio background with plaques Grammys and awards. Blue, purples, yellow slash orange light. Make it robust and entice it. All right. So I've given ChatGPT a prompt to create a prompt. This is now my visual prompt. It didn't give me any of the 16 nines and stuff, so I might just ask it to do a landscape, but that's done. Now I go into Midjourney and we'll try this prompt again. So we're just going to say, imagine, put that in, and I'll say landscape, high quality, DSLR, blurred effect. Hit enter and let it cook. So that's another prompt from GPT. Now, just for fun, just for giggles, we're going to go back to the original, the very first prompt I put in, and I'm just going to take the language out, a world-class studio out in LA by the beach, and I'm going to put that in Mid-Journey. Imagine one of the things that I do with AI is what I call iterative prompting. You got to keep prompting the tool several times until you get what exactly you are looking for. So you may have to do several rounds of prompts before you get something nice. All right, let's take a look. Let's blow them up a little bit. Okay, that's not bad. It used a little bit of a blurred effect. That's the other one. The bottom left will probably look very nice on camera. And I like this one as well, the one on the right. They're all nice, but it needs a little bit more character. So what I'm going to do is take the same prompt and copy it. And let's take a look. Oh, well, there you go. Sometimes simple is more convincing. So I don't know why it put the word robust on it. It's not supposed to have done that. But what I'm going to do next is reprompt it and get it to take that away. But other than that word that appears at the top, you can see that this looks a little bit more convincing. There are actually a few things you could do. So for the bottom, the number two and the number three, they're all very nice actually. So let's work with number two first. So we'll work with number two by clicking U2, and you can vary a region. So if I click vary region, comes up with this. You can select that little region there. I don't know if you're able to see it. It's not going to let me do it, but I selected the word that appeared that I didn't want, and I'm going to delete that word, and I'm just going to reprompt it, just this one, and that's going to cook for a while. That's the prompt showing, and then I'm just going to take, like I said, my original prompt, and I'm gonna reprompt that one after this. All right, there are a lot of moving parts, so keep your eye on what I'm doing. I know a lot of people are probably going to be lost if they're not already in Midjourney. So here we have a reprompt. Let's make it bigger and see if it did the job. Did it do the job? Okay, let's reload the page. Okay. Ah, much better. So it's gotten rid of that goofy, robust word there, and that gives you an idea of how you can take out stuff you don't want in Midjourney. You can just delete stuff by selecting what you don't want and it will just redo it. So in this case, either the top left or the bottom left would do. I'm going to choose the bottom left, which is number 3. Okay, let's blow that up. Click on Open in Browser. Follow the same process, right click and save image as. And I'm going to call this Music Studio 3. And I'm going into my settings. And I'm going to upload this new background, but I have to get rid of one so that there's enough room for a new one. There's only so many backgrounds you can upload to StreamYard. So let's see. Let's go with Music Studio 3. All right. Nope, that's not it. I think that is it. Okay. All right. So let's go full screen so you can see it. So not bad. Okay. Not bad. But there's something else we can do to it. And what we're going to do to it is we're going to add that blur one more time. So we're going to go to that same site, to the pinetools.com that I shared with you. Let me go back to the screen from pinetools.com. And there are many other ways to do this. You could do this in Canva or any other editing tool that has got the ability to blur. But I just wanted to show you a low cost, zero cost actually. So here we are. That's a new image. And I'm going to hit blur. Now it's blurred. You can choose the amount of blur. So if I want it to be a little bit less, maybe like an 8, I can re-blur it, or 6. Let's see what a 6 looks like. Okay, there's a 6. Right click again. So this is not for the impatient. Or, I mean, you could take the very first thing it spits out at you, and sometimes the iterations, you don't even have to iterate that much because it actually ends up looking really nice sometimes on the first prompt. This isn't bad. It's just a little bit unrealistic. It's too crisp, which is why you do the blurring. Okay, so we're going to do some blurring here. Going to upload the new one, and you're going to see the difference in a second. All right, loaded it, and let's save the background. And it's cooking, and there you have it. There you have it. You can see, not half bad. Doesn't look as fake as the original. And that's why you have to do things like blurring so that you get a better look. Okay. So now that I've given you a few ideas about how you can prompt for a studio, for example, a music studio, let's go ahead and do something with an office. Because I know a lot of you work in office spaces. You got all these jobs that require corporate looking stuff. So I'm going to give it a prompt. I'm going to say create a detailed prompt for a corporate corner office, plants, low light, family photos on a bookshelf, etc. Make it robust and picturesque for McJenny. I'm just going to copy that. It's a very, very long prompt. I'm going to say, can you create this image? To generate this, you'll need to log into your ChatGPT account. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you some potential alternatives. Let's let's take this prompt from one instance of GPT, and I'm going to go to my paid version of GPT. Okay. All right. So go into my paid version of ChatGPT, where I am going to be able to incorporate Dolly. Here we go. So now I'm in my paid version of GPT, and I'm just going to say, create an image, create the image based on this prompt. Just paste it in there with a control V and hit enter, and it's thinking. Let's see what it can come up with. We'll do a side by side comparison, and you'll see why, even though ChatGPT engineered the prompt, you'll see why Midjourney is preferred. Or maybe GPT, Dolly, the OpenAI tool might shock us. Let's see. It's always fun to see what it comes up with. So I'm curious, do you folks use GPT like this? Do you generate imagery for your Zoom and Teams and live streaming backgrounds? It's actually a fun thing to do if you're artsy and you have the patience. As you see, it's kind of like the long game. You got to be ready to play that long game. And it's adding details gradually, like as though it was painting it. It's quite impressive. That actually does look quite good. Yeah, that looks good. It's getting better and better. ChatGPT and Dolly, they're getting, oh, that does look nice. I like that. That looks really nice. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and download that, and let's go ahead and put it behind me so you can see what it looks like. The battle of the AIs, huh? Okay, here we go. And it gives you something called a WEBP or something like that format. It's not a straight PNG format, but some of these do a good job with them, like StreamYard does. Now, I mean, that's not bad. Take a look at that. That's not bad at all, is it? Not at all a bad background. Now, the only thing left for this would be to go into the blur image, and let me get that up so you can see it. Let's take this down, and let's bring up Pine Tools. So this is Pine Tools. So again, follow the process, choose the file, upload your file wherever you might have saved it. Like that, and apply. For this one, I'm going to apply minimal blur. You see, sometimes the darker the background, the more convincing it is. Yeah, this doesn't look bad. So let's save it, and I'll just call it Office One. All right, so I want you to take a look at the difference. This is the Office without the blur, And now I'm going to go ahead and put the blur in it. And like I always say, every tool has its own limit as far as how many backgrounds you can upload and stuff. In StreamYard, there's a limit, but let's go ahead and get it up into StreamYard. Okay. And take a look at the difference. It's quite sharp now, but when it's done cropping it, it doesn't look bad, does it? Something else you could do is when you play around with the light like this, you turn off the light and you can also tweak the settings on your camera so that it looks realistic, just like this. There are a number of other backdrops I've created using AI, and this one, you see the difference? So this is so sharp, but you got to take the edge off with the blur. That's where the blur comes in. And there is the same image. So next, I'm going to show you that same prompt, right, that I used for this one. This is going to be the battle of the AI because we're going to take that same prompt and we're going to use it in Midjourney and see if Midjourney can counter what Dolly did. So let's go to Midjourney. Midjourney, in my mind, is usually the winner, but in this case, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Let's see if Midjourney can compete, can give us something better. All right, so here's Midjourney, and the prompt is / imagine, and just dump all that stuff in exactly as is. And let's make sure there are no numbers in so it doesn't scramble its thinking. I think that's okay. And enter. And now you know the thing about using artificial intelligence tools, you could have one prompt give you something you cannot stand, and the same prompt at a different time give you something that is mind blowing. I've seen that happen time and time again, which is why I recommend the iterative prompting. Don't just do it once, do it multiple times. All right, let's take a look. What do you think? Who do you think is the winner? I think with this one, I prefer what I got from Dolly, actually. I think Dolly, the light in the background made it a little bit more realistic. But let me choose one that I think is the best and we can follow the process for it. Let's choose the lower left one, and that is number 3. Let's choose number 3. So when you click on U3, you're just saying you want it upscaled. If you hit V3, that means you want a version of number 3. So just for giggles, I'll show you how that works. There's so many things in Midjourney I wish I could show you. I should probably show you this so that we round up in the next few minutes. So this is U3 as is. Now it's working on the variation of U3, but you can actually zoom in or out of an image by clicking on zoom out 2 times or zoom out 1.5 times. So I'm going to ask it to zoom out 2 times so that it's much further away. So I'm going to do that. And then these are the variations it's provided. As you can see, it's given me some variants, and there's so many choices. Although I think I prefer what Dolly did in this case, but let's wait and see the zooming out just so that you get an idea of what that looks like. All right, so these are the zoomed out ones. You can see it's the same office, but it's zoomed out significantly. So that just gives you an idea of what it can do. All right, so let's go back to this one that we chose and let's open it up, open it in a browser. right click and save the image. And we're just going to call this Office 2. And I'm going to go full screen so that you can see the difference. I really like this one. I like the outdoors. It looks a little bit more overcast and more realistic. But let's go ahead and get this one in and see what it looks like. Here we go. Let's crop it. And there we have it. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad, but this has to be doctored as well. So I'm going to go ahead and blur it as I have shown you. The blurring is a secret sauce, my friends. Let's choose what I just did. Let's choose the same level of blur. Same level of blur. That's it. Let's save it. Office 2 blurred. And let me go full screen and let's upload the new blurred image. And you'll see there's a difference. It does make a difference. There we go. There you have it. Not bad. Again, you got to play with the lighting to make it look more realistic. And, when I get up from here and, you can see my chair, and so on, it just makes it look a little bit more realistic when you have some furniture in the background, if possible. But these are ways you can make your live streams or your Zooms or your Teams look a lot better. Okay. Let's go ahead and play with one more and then we'll call it a day. For this one, I'm just going to go straight into Mid Journey and I'm just going to put a prompt in directly because you don't always have to ask GPT to give you a more robust prompt. But I've noticed sometimes that works really well, especially when your imagination might be limited. But for this, I'm going to say um, home office. No, I'll just do imagine beautiful ambient lighting, home office, grays, yellows, and ambient low light. Late evening, overcast look. I could say LEDs dim. And I could just say DSLR high quality. So very limited prompt, but I want you to see what happens with a limited prompt. Sometimes the limited prompt ends up being the one that saves the day, and other times the elaborate prompt ends up being the one that saves the day. So with AI, you just got to play that long game. All right, I'm sorry, I wasn't showing you my screen. So let me go ahead. I'll actually put the prompt in so that you can play with the prompt yourself. Let me take all that and let me put it in the chat. Here's the prompt. You go play with it in Dolly or Midjourney, see what you get. My friends on Instagram, I didn't forget you. I'm going to send it to you as well. There you go. Oh, I omitted the word B. Apologies for that. Okay. All right. So let's see what we've got here. These don't look half bad, do they? Very limited prompt. Sometimes it's just the lighting you have to play with. Very, very picturesque. So the one on the right seems more realistic because it's so I like the top right and the bottom left. And this isn't bad either. That's not bad at all. They're all very nice. I'm going to go with the top right, which is number two. This will be our final one for the night. If you have any questions, feel free to ask any questions you have about AI, prompt engineering, using prompts, whether you're using it for your compositions or your writing or your painting or your music making or your whatever you do. AI, you can use it for all that stuff. But I could give you some insights. So just feel free to ask any question. All right, so there it is. Let's click on, I think we went for number two. Number two. All right, that's number two over there. Let's open it in the browser for maximum quality. Right click, save the image, and we're just going to call it Final Office Example. And I'm going to endeavor to post some of these in the respective streams so that you can see the examples for yourself when I'm done. Okay. Oh, one more thing you can do. I should show you this. So you can actually use the right and left arrows to move the camera as it were to the right or to the left. So if I wanted to show what is to the right of this image, so use your imagination. What can you imagine is to the right? More of the curtain? Anything else? It's always fun to guess what the AI is going to envisage when you hit the right or the left. You can also pan up and down as well. So let's take a look. It's done it. It's panned to the right. And all of these little tweaks, they just give you a more convincing, um, wow, that looks nice. So I like the bottom right one of this. It's the same thing, but it's just made it pan to the right. So we're going to choose number three, upscale number three, click on it and open it up in a new browser. Right click and save the image. And final office example two. Okay. So in the battle of the office prompts, I think this kind of redeems mid journey a little bit. Actually, that's not bad right behind me. It's not, but let me show you what mid journey has done in this one by uploading it so it's behind me. There we go. Save the background. And what do you think? It's not bad. It still needs the doctoring though, the polish. Remember, the polish is the last step. So I still got to polish it. We got to go to pinetools.com or Canva or whatever you're using. Let's do that one more time. Let me show you my process. All right. So I go to a tool like Pine Tool. I find that same image. I bring it in here and I blur it. In this case, I'm going to go a little bit higher to 8, blur it, right click, save the image, give it a new name. And now I can show you what it looks like one more time. We creatives, we have too much fun with this stuff. I could do this stuff all night. I could do digital art all night. This is what you get growing up in an art household. My mom is an artist, and I just love playing with colors and light and stuff like this. I don't get bored of it at all. You know, I did some courses way back in early 2000s on Dreamweaver, Photoshop, all that stuff. So I quite enjoy doing stuff like this. All right. There we have it. Light off. It could pass for almost real, don't you think? It could pass for almost real. All right, my friends, we've had quite a lot of fun here, I think. I know this bores some people, but for some of you, you're quite like me. You enjoy it. You enjoy playing with these things, which is why some of you have stayed this far. So thank you very much. Let's go ahead and let's take a final look at the process. So the number three was the tool, right? Choose the right tool. And I showed you a combination of Dolly, which wasn't bad after all, and Midjourney, right? Dolly is getting cleverer. And number four is the polish. So the AI gives you the draft, but you got to polish it up. You got to add the bokeh effect. You got to add the blur, and you could use things like Photoshop, Figma, Canva. You could remove the background. You could adjust the colors. You could blur. You could add overlays. Sometimes I've actually taken furniture from a different repository and placed it in the image, doctored it up just to give me the assets that I want behind me. So if I wanted a few guitars or I wanted a bookshelf or something, I could doctor that into the picture. But it requires a lot of patience to do. But I must say it's a lot of fun. So my final thoughts, my friends, you got the VPTP Vision Prompt Tool Polish. You got to envision what you want. The colors are always so important. Few tips like the grays and the yellows and the oranges. I learned this from a friend of mine. The yellows that they offer such a nice ambience. The yellows and the grays. You can also have some blues, not too aggressive blues, but blues, oranges, and grays. They work nicely as well. And greens, you might also want to introduce some greenery to your office, your office space, because it just makes it look really good. All right, I'm going to show you a few more for those of you who are keen on seeing other examples of mine that I've been able to create. I'll show you a few more that I quite like. Okay, so this one is my favorite. Let's see if I can upload it again. This one right here. Oh, I think I'm limited with space again. I got to delete some previous ones. All right, this one. What I like about this one is the way the AI tool played with light and the way it played with space. Check this out. So, okay, going to turn off the light for maximum effect. All right. How do you like that? How do you like that? Not bad. The lighting is convincing. You got to make the lighting come. Even this lighting isn't bad. It could still um, come across as being realistic. So, not bad. And I'll just do one more so that you are aware of the possibilities. Lots of possibilities. So let me show you how I have played around with some grays and oranges in this one. Grays and oranges. Now, in terms of the proximity to the laptop, which is going to appear in the background, I'd have probably like to push the laptop further away for the perspective to look more realistic, but nonetheless, not bad. Huh? Not bad. Especially when you get that light reduced, it looks like it is a possibly realistic um, background. All right. Well, I hope this has helped. Thank you very much, all of those friends who came through. James, thank you for coming through and letting me know that you could hear me. Otherwise, I'd have just dropped off. And thank you, Prof, for joining from LinkedIn and everyone else who came through. I appreciate it. I wish you all the best as you keep working with AI. Remember, AI is not an enemy. I mean, some folks, the moment they see AI, they're just so mad. AI isn't an enemy. AI is a friend, but you gotta tame the beast. You just gotta tame it. All right. Thank you very much for joining. I look forward to seeing you next time. Like and subscribe. Bye for now. Au revoir.